So one of the reasons AOC is such a strong congresswoman is that she calls out both Republicans and Democrats from a progressive perspective. That when Democrats and Republicans fail to meet the needs of the American working class, she calls them out. And she did that yesterday, not only regarding Biden's immigration policy, but also the fake, pathetic minimum wage policy put forward by Tom Cotton and Mitt Romney. So first, you all heard the story yesterday that Biden and his administration are not really ending the kids in cages policy from the Trump year. They're calling them overflow facilities. They're giving them a better name. They are probably at least a little bit better than what were under Trump, but it's not an end to the policy. I want to read you a tweet here from an expert explaining this. It says here, "It is unnecessary, it is costly, it goes against everything Biden promised he was going to do," said Linda Brandmiller, a San Antonio-based immigration lawyer. "It's a step backwards, is what it is. It's a huge step backwards." That is from an expert on the ground that helps these vulnerable children, saying that Biden and his people have failed to keep their promise on ending the kids in cages policies. And AOC pointed that out. In quoting a piece from the Washington Post, she said, "This is not okay. It has never been okay, never will be okay, no matter the administration or party. Our immigration system is built on a carceral framework. It's no accident that challenging how we approach these issues are considered controversial stances. They require reimagining our relationship to each other and challenging common assumptions we take for granted. It's only 2 months into the new administration, and our fraught, unjust immigration system will not transform in that time. That's why a bold reimagination is so important. Department of Homeland Security shouldn't exist. Agencies should be reorganized. ICE gotta go. Ban for-profit detention. Create climate refugee status, and more." And that's crucial. AOC isn't saying that, Trump equals Biden, Biden equals Trump. And she's acknowledging that some of the bigger changes are going to take more than 2 months. Nonetheless, she does say that this is insufficient, and she follows the line of Jamal Bowman and Ilhan Omar and a few other progressives that said it is not really ending the kids in cages policy when you move the kids to nicer cages. It doesn't end it. Even if it's slightly better, it does not end the policy. And there was a lot of questions, and I think some of them were good faith about what could be done instead. And AOC approached those questions in good faith. So somebody basically asked her, look, well, where are you going to put these people? We have to try to find their families. It's absolutely tragic they were separated from their families, but what do you do in the interim? And AOC offered concrete solutions, which Biden hasn't really followed. And it says here, "One short-term shift is requiring influx facilities with children to be licensed. Another issue is whether these services should be contracted out the way they are, and whether facilities with controversial records, for example, Homestead, should even be reopened." And that was one of the facilities Biden reopened. And so AOC is saying, look, I understand children need to be taken care of, but putting them in these facilities, even if they're gussied up, is insufficient, and we should not be afraid to say that. A lot of progressives or a lot of neoliberals, a lot of Biden supporters are absolutely terrified of criticizing Biden at all, or they're absolutely unwilling to do it because Trump was worse. And very few people are going to deny that Trump was worse, but the point is, Biden doesn't have to just be a little better than Trump. He has to be a lot better than Trump. Biden's goal shouldn't just be to kneel over and tumble over the bar of Trump. It should be to leap as high over it as he can, and the job of people like AOC is to hold him to account. So yeah, Biden still has kids in cages. He does. But AOC didn't just criticize Biden yesterday. She didn't just criticize the Democrats yesterday, she criticized Republicans as well. Because yesterday, Republican Senators Mitt Romney and Tom Cotton basically came out with a really, really pathetic response to the $15 minimum wage. They are like, let's give you a $10 or so minimum wage, but pair it with a lot of attacks on immigrants and undocumented people to sort of use it as a race baiting exercise. So not only is it tinged with racism, it is also woefully inadequate. And indeed, the minimum wage being proposed by Tom Cotton is lower than his current state's minimum wage. And they're saying 10 something by 2025. So AOC says when members of Congress fight to set the minimum wage below a living wage, they are playing a role in creating and preserving poverty in the United States. The $15 an hour proposal with multi-year phase-in is already a deep compromise. $10 an hour is legislated poverty. And she's 100% right there. She's right. And you know what AOC is doing there? She's also offering a subtle hint to Democrats like Manchin and Sinema, the quote-unquote moderates that don't like the $15 minimum wage, saying to them, look, guys, we're already compromising. $15 by 2025 isn't really a victory for the left. It's absolutely already giving up a ton. Nina Turner and so many others noted over the last couple days that, the fight for 15 started really in about 2012. And so that's a long time ago. It'll be 13 years in 2025, since the start of that fight to get to $15 an hour. That is not fast enough. It should be 15 now, and so the phase-in is already the compromise. And so AOC is right in exposing the utter evil and pathetic nature of Republicans who are trying to undercut the minimum wage because they know even Republican voters want something of an increase, but they don't want to actually piss off anybody in corporate America or piss off the business lobbies. So they're like, oh, we'll offer $10 or we'll offer $10.25 in the next 5 years. And again, this is why AOC is so strong. Anybody can criticize the other party. Anybody can do that. But AOC is one of the few people in Congress with a big megaphone that in the same day holds her own party to account and the other party to account. And that's why I think that she's the best person, not the only person, but the best person to carry on the mantle of Bernie Sanders into 2024 or 2028, because what progressives need to do is criticize both sides of the traditional Republican-Democratic divide. It doesn't mean they're equal, but unless progressives and unless people that vote Democrat understand that there's something better than Joe Biden's neoliberalism, things will never really change for the better. And AOC plays a crucial role every day in reminding people that.